Welcome! Welcome! Welcome to Hug Nation. So good to see you. The topic of the day is big heart bragging. And by that I mean speaking about, talking about, making a to-do about good deeds, about charity in the world. Many people, many books, many traditions, probably most of us have been taught that charity is something that you do anonymously, quietly, because understandably, if you're doing charity from a place of trying to get attention, well, there's a little skewed aspect to your motivation. The problem is with this situation of quiet charity is that we look out in the world and we have no idea how much goodness is going on. We have no idea how much our fellow brothers and sisters are acting from their hearts. And so we see a world that's a little bit colder than it actually is. We see the news stories about negative things, and every once in a while we'll see a positive story. When the reality is, people are being fantastic all over the place. The reality is, it doesn't really matter, I don't think, what gets you to do a good deed, as long as it is a good deed. Now, we have examples of things like greenwashing, where companies just make it sound like they're doing a good deed because they want credit for it. That is bad. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like just getting credit for being a good person and not doing a good deed. I'm talking about a good deed, a kindness. And we live in a time now with social media where it's totally changed the way that we learn about and share these ideas of good deeds. So with social media, instead of getting a mailbox filled with big glossy brochures and seeing commercials on TV that with sad music and skinny kids that try to make you feel guilty or make you feel bad or make you feel like, well, if I do something good, maybe, I will feel better. Instead, with social media, you have people sharing the things that they're doing. Hey, I'm going to walk this 5K. Hey, I just gave to these people. Hey, this is a cool charity that I'm involved with. And so you see these personal connections to good things. And then, instead of feeling guilted into doing things, you're inspired. I want to be inspired. I don't want you to tell me what to do. I want to see somebody doing something amazing, kind, compassionate, and go, hey, cool. I could do that. Or I could do something similar. And then I'm acting from a place of inner drive as opposed to being pulled or pushed. And it makes such a big difference. There's a certain irony to me talking about this because for most of my life, I would hear people talking about this, oh, it feels so good to do good deeds. And I'd be like, oh, blah, 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 blah. You don't really believe that, do you? Like, you're clearly doing this and saying this because you're covering up some massive guilt and you finally feel okay about yourself and so now I'm in a place of like, oh wait, actually, the more I live from service, the more I act in the world from a place of less selfishness and more connection, I find this deep gratification, this deep joy from doing these things that I used to feel pushed to do. And I think that there's something... If you are a soul entity in the universe, you're a point. You've got no leverage. Archimedes said, give me a place to stand and a lever big enough and I can move the world. Well, if you're just a point, you have no lever. You get bat around by the pressures of the day, your fears. But if you can ground your point with the world, with your values, with source, with something larger than you, that's your lever. And now you're anchored, you're connected. You have this, it's like standing on one foot versus standing with two that are thousands of miles apart. Try to knock me down now. And so as I learn more and more that, oh my gosh, this actually is an incredible way to live. This is an incredibly fulfilling way to live. I struggle with the idea that, oh, this is a secret. Shh, don't tell people what you do. Tell them they should do it, Tell people that, yes, you should be charitable, you should do good, but don't tell anybody the good things that you're doing. Do what I say, but don't know what I do. I'm way more motivated. I'm way more inspired when I see actions. If someone, tweets that says, you should help battered women, I'm like, you know what? Tell me how much you just donated to battered women, and then I'm paying attention. Act. And then I will follow your energy. There was a great media frenzy a while back when Russell Brand, he's done a few things, but one, he went out and bought breakfast for a bunch of homeless people. And it was in all the celebrity blogs, and, he got all sorts of slack for, he had so much, didn't even mean anything to him. I'm like, so what? If we have more people just doing good things, then the view of the world will be, that's what we do. And the truth is, we're not talking about grand sacrifices. We're not talking about donating livers. We're talking about sharing relatively insignificant amount of resources that just connect us to people, bring light to the world, and in doing so, shine light on ourselves. It is not a sacrifice when you do it like that. And so I recognize that there is a real benefit, importance, and value to doing charity from anonymity. And I think that there should be things that you do purely from a place of anonymity. And I think maybe when you get deeper and deeper into this awareness, you find that you just act from a kind place, not even thinking about why, when, or where. You just act that way. Good. That's where we should be. But until we're to that place, I don't care if it makes you feel good because people see you doing it, as long as we're all doing it and reminding each other that's what it is to be a part of the human family. It means that we extend a hand. And the person receiving the hand is not less in any way. It's part of a family. You don't judge your brother when you help them with a Band-Aid on their skinned knee. You don't judge the people in your family when they lean on you. And we shouldn't have that. We should feel good when we're supported and when we support. I struggled a lot with how much I wanted to share about charitable things because I've shared so much publicly about everything else in my life. But nowadays, I'm pretty public. I share my Kickstarter campaigns, I share projects that I'm doing, and I share First Saturdays boldly. Now, First Saturdays, when we started doing that, actually this weekend is our 3-year anniversary. 3 years of every first Saturday of the month going downtown and sharing with San Diego's needy. But when we did it initially, it wasn't called First Saturdays. It was just 3 guys that decided that this felt good and we wanted to keep doing it. And we weren't sure if we were going to do it publicly, if we were going to make it something that we invited people to. And we had these conversations about, does that diminish the goodness of it? Does it diminish the value to ourselves? Does it diminish the value to the act? And there's an argument to be made for that. But the argument on the other side is that now, after 3 years of doing this, we get crowds of volunteers every month. 50, 60, 70 people, mountains of clothes, tons of sandwiches, children that are with their parents that get to experience giving and acting from that place. And I think that to me, that settles the argument. Clearly, if we can role model the joy of giving, and then people feel it, and they tell their friends, and they bring their kids, and then people start to see themselves as people that's part of who they are. That's part of who all of us is. It's not something that we do anonymously and privately. It's part of what it means to be here. Not to mention the thousands of people that we've been able to help because of the group that is the size that has only learned about one another because we've shouted from the mountaintop, First Saturday! The other thing that it kind of shocks me is that, because we don't talk about it enough, we don't demonstrate it enough, it becomes a big deal. Like Russell Brand, oh my gosh, somebody with millions and millions of dollars just spent $400 on breakfast? It's like, it almost should be news every time somebody in the 1% has a fancy dinner, and does not donate some money. That to me seems like the kind of thing we should be broadcasting. Going, what this is needs to be reported on. But the reality is, the bar right now is so low to actually be a good person. By spending a handful of hours a month on First Saturdays, people perceive me as being kind-hearted, a philanthropist. That's amazing. That means that for a very small investment of your time, you can be the change. You can be a part of the world that you want to live in. As opposed to sitting back and complaining, you create the world that you want to be in by demonstrating it. And that ripples, reflects. The fastest, if not the only way to change the world is to change yourself. And so as I see people demonstrating the kind acts that they do, that then becomes the world that I live in. That's the world that they live in. That's the world that we live in. Every time I go to First Saturdays and we make a circle and I look around and I see these faces, I'm like, it's my favorite part. Before we've done anything good, except organize the clothes and make the care packs, but seeing all of these faces of kids and adults and people from all different backgrounds, people that have had struggles, people that have not, and I see all these faces of people that have made the choice to be a helper, to be connected, to reach out their hand, not because it's easing any guilt, but because they've been inspired to do so, and it makes them feel like that's the kind of person that they are. And that's the kind of person that you are. And so, yeah, I publicly share my Kickstarter campaigns that I've given money to. I don't share how much. I share if I'm doing a fundraiser, and I share every first Saturdays. I even share here if I do something nice for somebody in the grocery store or a neighbor. Because I'm bragging? Kinda. But also because I think we need to see it. We need to role model. We need to be the change. I know you are that person. I know you do that person. I want to know about it. I want to hear about it. Because that story of who we are in the world is what changes the world. I'm so honored to share the journey with you. I'm so glad that you're who you are, and that divine part of you is just growing until you have no choice but to do these kind deeds and kind acts, because it is as natural as breathing. It is as natural as feeding yourself food, is feeding your soul with kindness. Thank you. I love you. Namaste. Let's have ourselves a hug. All right. Grab yourselves by the shoulders. This is the only body you got. So we take care of it. We get to know it. We pleasure it. But we are not of this body. We are connected deeply to all. But from the vantage point of this body, we get to enjoy that fractional consciousness that sometimes makes us feel separate and sometimes makes us feel like we're at odds and there's enemies out there and obstacles. And we can acknowledge that and know that we get to play the game. And part of the game is having villains and obstacles. Otherwise, it's not a game. It's just nothing. But for a moment, let's just acknowledge that we are all on the same team in varying degrees of awareness of that loving heart inside us. Let's forgive ourselves for when we've lost track and not been our most compassionate. And let's also forgive everyone we've encountered that may have shown us elements of cruelty, insensitivity, selfishness. And let's acknowledge that all of us are where we need to be in our path so we can learn what we need to learn to become the people that we're capable of being. All of us connected, all of us beams of light that together make up a grand, gorgeous star. Let's take 3 breaths together. Inhale love. Share it with the world. Inhale love. Share it with the world. Inhale love. Share it with the world. That air has been shared for thousands, millions of years. Everything that has walked this earth has shared those breaths. We are all connected. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and all the Love Warriors, Happy Hug Nation. Thank you. I love you. Namaste.
You only live once. Enjoy the color.